Hello team, I just wanted to kind of go over the steps to doing an in-service on the T-Edge that are a little bit differently than the other autoclaves that we currently have. The T-Edge has two on-off switch. There's one in the rear of the autoclave. That is the main on-off switch, okay? It's important that we leave that on, okay? And then also, if we look at the front panel, there's an on-off switch here. And this is to put the autoclave into sleep mode. The reason why we have the two switches is so that this way, when we do start up the autoclave, it's a faster startup, okay? If we also notice, our Hepa filter is no longer located on the side of the autoclave, it's located in the front. And when doing an in-service, I want you to show them exactly how to change the Hepa filter. All it is unscrewing the Hepa filter to the left, and here's the Hepa filter right here, okay? They would get a new one, and then they would screw the Hepa filter back in to the right. So the USB port we're gonna use again for downloading our cycle data history, and then also the great part about this autoclave is that we'll be able to update the software regularly. So the chamber, I want you to make sure that you let them know that the chamber will be hot, okay? It preheats to 130 degrees. We do that so this way when they do start a cycle, we're not starting from room temperature, we're starting from 130 degrees. The benefit of that will be shorter cycle times, okay? Because the chamber will already be preheated. Again, it will have a rack. That rack will have 5 trays. As we do in the EZ11 Plus. The only other difference is that the rack can be switched to also hold cassettes. In the medical field, we will see cassettes in eye surgery, also some plastic surgery applications. So please make note of that, let your customers know when you are doing a sale. Here is a graphic user interface or our screen, our touch screen. It's very intuitive, as you can see. It has a home button. This is our menu or settings button. This right here will denote what class we're sterilizing in. It'll be either B or S. B for pre and post vac, S for gravity with dynamic airflow removal. This drop right here, or droplet, will denote how much water is in the reservoir tank. And this droplet will let us know how much water is in the wastewater tank. Right here, this lock denotes if the door is open or closed. If I close it, you'll notice the lock actually locks up. If it's open, it'll open up the lock, denoting the door is open. And right here is the settings. Now, if I go over the settings, you'll see there's a number of different features. This one right here is to set up username and password for a tech or a nurse that's going to use the autoclave. This is extremely important in ambulatory surgical centers, so this way we can track who is sterilizing the instruments that are in the autoclave. This is important when we're going to print labels. When we print labels, that information, the tech, will actually be on the barcode, okay? And that barcode will tell us the tech, the date, the time, the sterilization cycle parameters, and if it passed or failed, okay? So really important in ambulatory surgical centers and hospitals that if they're going to track packs throughout their system, you'll be able to set up that as well. Okay. In order for you to go back, you're just going to go back to the settings button, and here, this is the information button. The information is going to give you the software data. If I go back to settings, here's the USB, and the USB is going to be used exactly the way we did with the EZ11 Plus. Okay. I'm going to just scroll up. We can export everything to USB, export settings without logs, export cycle history, last 10 cycles, last 50 cycles, and all cycles. Again, this is a modular design, so it's going to be very easy to repair. If I go back to settings again, this is date and time setting. So on your initial in-service, you're going to set up the date and time for them. When we press set, what's going to happen is that that's going to address the internal memory of the autoclave. Okay, so really important. We also have advanced settings. Advanced options at this time is just to change the color scheme or color theme. And I'm going to go to the light color theme. And so this way you can change it. So if a person has an issue seeing the screen, you'll be able to change the color for them. The last button is probably the most important button. This allows the T-Edge to do exactly what we want it to do, right? So it says class B or B and /S. That's to let you know what class it's in. And then also if we wanted to upgrade the autoclave. So if this was a class S, all I would need to do is to press class B, put in the password, and press set. This will become important when we have accounts that buy the T-Edge as a T-Edge 10S, which is gravity with dynamic airflow removal. If they buy instruments that are now pre and post back sterilization only, the way we're going to upgrade them is that you will let them know that they can upgrade the autoclave. They'll send in a PO. We will then call up the customer. We'll instruct them to hit this setting button, and they'll be able to change it from class S to class B by just putting in a password. We are the only company that can sterilize 99% of all instruments on the planet. The only thing we cannot sterilize are flexible scopes. Other than that, rigid scopes, hollow lumen instruments, solid state instruments, everything can be done in a T-Edge. It's definitely a game changer in the market. And then if I want to go back to the home screen, I'm going to go to the home screen over here. This will bring up the cycles, okay? As with our other autoclaves, you're going to have an unwrapped cycle 270, a wrapped cycle 270 degrees, unwrapped delicate cycle, which is 250 degrees, and a wrapped delicate cycle, which is 250 degrees. If you notice next to the cycle, it will let you know what class you're in, class B, okay? And then the last thing I want you to show the customer as far as the graphic user interface. The vacuum test they probably will never use. Bowie Dick cycle is we're going to put a pack in the autoclave, and we're going to check the steam saturation of that pack. Make sure we have steam penetration and even steam saturation.
Chamber Clean is the new, cleaner version developed specifically for the T-Edge.
Even though this is a pre and post vac mode, that cycle will always be in class S, which is gravity with dynamic airflow removal. This will allow them to clean the chamber, and as usual, after its cycle, we do want you to run a cycle with nothing in it as well, okay? After those cycles are done, you're gonna open up the door, and then I want you to instruct them to wipe down the chamber, both the door cover as well as the chamber, with a damp cloth with deionized water, okay? Just to get out any of the residue that may be left over. You can also show them both the wastewater removal line as well as the reservoir removal line. If an autoclave is going to sit for any longer than 3 days, we always recommend that the account drain all the water, both the wastewater as well as the reservoir water. It's extremely important. We don't want a biofilm to form. A biofilm will have bacteria, and therefore sterilization will not be of the highest quality. The printer that we have for the T-Edge is both a printer and a label maker, okay? It will come with a separate cord and a USB port. Okay, you're going to take that USB cord and plug it into the back of the autoclave. You're going to do that while the autoclave is completely off, both the front on-off switch as well as the rear on-off switch. In order for you to open up the printer, you're going to press these two buttons forward. It opens up the printer. Here's where you're going to put the paper. And in order for you to put the paper in, you're just going to spread these until the paper will be able to fit. Important to note that there's a little green button here, okay? And that little green button is in the center when it's shipped out. If it's going to be a label, you're going to set this over to the right, just 1 or 2 clicks. If it's going to be a printer for cycle history, you're going to push it over to the left, 1 or 2 clicks, okay? So after I've done that, I put in my paper, I hooked up the USB port, the autoclave is completely off. Now I'm going to turn on the back switch. I'm going to wait 2 minutes, okay? I wait 2 minutes because we're allowing the driver to address the printer, okay? After I've waited 2 or 3 minutes, then I'm going to turn on the front on-off switch. This autoclave can also be set up with auto water fill and auto wastewater removal. They're located in the back of the autoclave. They will need some kind of water treatment system, deionized. You will have that in your bag probably within the next month. So again, something to note, especially with ambulatory surgical centers, let's make this as automated as possible for them and as easy as possible for them, okay? And that is about it. Thank you very much. And please make sure that you watch this video before you do an in-service. Get yourself acquainted with the autoclave. I always suggest showing up at an account about 15-20 minutes before, getting it all set up, so this way when you do the in-service, you'll be able to convey the information that they need in a professional way. Thank you very much, guys.